Introducing the humongous iPad Pro from Apple, and this is indeed a humongous tablet coming in at 12.9 inches in diagonal size. And this particular one I got, it's the gold one, and this is my first gold Apple device, and I will admit I definitely will be getting gold devices from Apple from now on. This is a very nice, expensive looking, and it really is expensive, so not just expensive looking, piece of hardware. So kudos to Apple for another great iPad. The base model retails for around $7.99, is Wi-Fi only, and comes with 32 gigabytes of onboard storage. The middle model is Wi-Fi only, comes with 128 gigabytes of storage, and retails for around $9.49. Now you can get one that has the cellular radio, so you can connect via 4G, with the 128 gigabytes of RAM for $10.79. So going from left to right, we have our 12.9-inch massive iPad Pro. In the middle we have our standard iPad that we've had around since 2010, and it's gone through several iterations, but it had roughly the same size screen. And then on the far right we have our iPad mini. So you can see by comparing the three iPads, you know, the huge size of the iPad Pro makes a big difference when it comes to the viewing experience. Now the iPad Pro comes with, as I said, a 12.9-inch screen, which is bigger than the Surface Pro 3 and even Surface Pro 4 screens. When it comes to pixels per inch, it comes with 264 pixels per inch, which equates to 2048 by 2732 pixels. So this is perfect for like graphic intensive games like the one you're looking at right now. And speaking of graphic intensive games, the processor in this is the A9X processor, which Apple says is twice as fast as its predecessor. So we're talking about a dual core 2.26 gigahertz processor. So you're talking about, you know, any high-end game like this one you're looking at here, the iPad Pro does very well. And I actually did stress test this with quite a few high-end Apple games, and there's been no lag, no jitter. Gameplay has been fluid, excellent. This is definitely a great gaming tablet. In addition to being just a really great tablet for, you know, all of your other applications and stuff. Now, when it comes to memory, there's I did mention earlier there's three flavors of memory. You can get this as a 32 gigabyte, 64 gigabyte, or 128 gigabytes. If you are a person who's into gaming and of course using a lot of other applications, I would strongly recommend shelling out a couple $100 more and get the 128 gigabyte version. Just saying, because you know, with Apple there is no external slot for additional memory expansion. So you know, if you're gonna spend at least, you know, 7, 8, 9, well, you know, $900 on an iPad Pro, you know, spend a couple $100 more and get the full 128 gigabyte model. Now the iPad Pro is a mere 1/4 inch thick, and it weighs about 1.5 pounds. And it definitely is not a tablet that's designed for one-handed reading. I would recommend at all times, even if you're playing games, that you use two hands when you're you know, using the tablet. And you know, I did try, you know, playing games or just using boring applications and stuff. Now I could have just showed you me using a regular boring application, but because I'm heavily into gaming, I decided to show you, you know, the use case of using this tablet with two hands while playing one of my favorite driving games, as you're seeing here right now. But yeah, definitely, I mean, even if you have the biggest hands in the world, I would definitely recommend, you know, using this with two hands, unless you have this propped up on a stand or something. And you know, as I mentioned earlier as well, this comes with the A9X chip, one of the latest chips that Apple has been using in their devices. And you know, that's great because then games like this, it runs very well, very fluid play. And as I said, I stress tested many games on this platform, and they work very well. Now when you want to connect your smart cover or smart keyboard to your tablet, there's three little pins or three little holes at the bottom of the tablet, and it's located on the left hand side of the tablet. And all you do is actually align it up with the keyboard cover like so. It clips into place automatically and connects, so there's no Bluetooth connection between the keyboard and the tablet, right? It's all wired, and then all you do is just bring your tablet forward and it just clips in place like that, and you know, you have your tablet and everything in place, and that's pretty cool. Now everything I've said so far about the iPad Pro has been a good thing, but now when I talk about the smart keyboard, I was a little taken aback by the price. It's pretty expensive, and you know, for the kind of money you paid for a keyboard, you would think that it would be backlit. So this isn't backlit. That's number one. Number two, unlike the keys on the smart cover, which has the keyboard in it for the Surface Pro 4, the keys on this are not really that defined, and they don't really pop out from the plane. So it doesn't really give you that real legitimate keyboard experience. You know, some people might like to hear the clack of the keys. Some people may need to really feel the keys, that, you know, that three-dimensional feel of the keys when they're really above the plane, like on a real keyboard. You don't really get that on this, but you know, it's still functional. You can still use your hands and type pretty well. But you know, for the price, yeah, I was a little bit disappointed. So I'm guessing that their next iteration will actually have a more realistic looking keyboard. Even, you know, what would be really cool is if they just pretty much replicated the keyboard experience like how they have on their tablets, right? On their, not on their tablets, sorry, on their MacBooks, right? So that may be the next thing. And then another pain point I had with the smart keyboard was the fact that you only can have the tablet oriented with one angle. You can't really adjust it, you know. If you're familiar with the Surface Books, you can actually adjust the angle, you know, in many different orientations as you want within a certain range, of course. But with this, it's pretty much fixed. So I'm guessing, you know what, Apple being smart, they most probably will have something similar in the next iteration. But you know, for now, hey, it does the job. You get that one angle. Hey, you know, it works. It works. Now the cameras on this for the iPad, it's pretty nice actually. Now it does come with a pretty cool rear camera. Believe it's an 8 megapixel camera, which is a rare camera, and as you can see, it auto-focused and it takes a lot of pictures. And I believe if I hold it down as well, it can do burst mode and take multiple pictures. So as you can see there, it just took 49 pictures in a couple seconds. So we got burst mode, regular mode. It takes pretty nice pictures, and of course there's a ton of you know, anybody familiar with iOS 9, there are many different features that you have when you're taking pictures, panoramic mode, whatnot. And again, I don't know if you don't want to use your huge iPad Pro for, you know, carrying it around to take pictures when you can just use your iPhone, but it has that functionality. And then when it comes to video, so before I even talk about the video, the front-facing camera, it's a 1.2 megapixel camera, which is right here, and then the rear camera, as I said, it's a you know, 8 megapixel camera. So when it comes to video, let's go to video mode here. It actually does do 1080p video, and it does a pretty good job of recording video. Obviously, a tablet of this caliber obviously will do 1080p, and you know, just like all of the other customary Apple devices, it does a good job of recording video. The iPad Pro does come with a fingerprint scanner, so you don't have to type in your password every time. You can just use your finger. One of the things that kind of sucked was it does not have that, you know, that newfangled 3D touch technology that you found in the latest actually came out in the latest iPhone 6s. It doesn't have that 3D touch, which kind of sucks, but you know, that may be a smart move on their part. I guess they want to, they don't want to, I guess, cannibalize, their different product lines. So, they've been very careful in, selecting which functionality goes on which type of device. But again, I'm guessing in their next iteration of the iPad Pro, they most probably will add that, 3D touch technology. Now, there's also an Apple Pencil that comes with this. My Apple Pencil is still on back order because there's been such a huge demand for it. But it does do. But when I do get that pencil, I will, of course, demonstrate how well it works on this. But from the reviews I've been reading, the Apple Pencil, it looks aesthetically pleasing on the eye, and it's a very, very powerful little accessory for the iPad Pro. Now, Apple has stated that it can run up to 10 hours between charges. I've actually done some stress testing on it myself, just doing like normal stuff, and I was able to use this fully for about just actually under 10 hours. So that's pretty nice. And time between charges, actually for me, I've used this for an entire day on a full charge, and it went into the next day, and I didn't have to charge it until like a couple hours into the next day. So again, I'm not surprised. I mean, with an iPad of this size, I would imagine that the battery that's in this thing is pretty huge, such that it can give you that extended usability, right, on one charge. So again, kudos to Apple for that.